Everyone, it is George Couros on the episode of Mindset Monday. Whoops a daisy. Whoops a daisy. A little slow on the button today, but you got it. But let's just do it again. Mindset Monday. The practice, it's actually weird because it used to be when in my old house, I used to have the soundboard on my left and I was on my right, and I'm right-handed. So you think it'd be easier, but no, it's not. So I'm still getting used to it. But hey, it's actually I'm recording this on a Saturday night. I'm just taking a few minutes just to share some ideas, share something I was thinking about, and actually referring to the move, moving to a different country, obviously a different state, city. Um, Someone asked me this question, and I thought about it a lot. And it was like a really quick response I made to what someone had asked me, and they said something that was kind of interesting. They said, "Hey, like, are you moving to Orlando permanently?" And I said, "Permanently for now." and and they kind of laughed, and I laughed, and blah blah blah. And I kind of thought about it that it's actually kind of a good mantra, the idea of permanently for now. And I think the reason I really been thinking about this is talking about this on a personal level. When you talk about the idea of permanently for now, I kind of felt that I was in a place, in a city that I was not really growing anymore. That maybe I felt that I needed a change to do something different, but I was really connected to the house that I lived in, and I couldn't really wrap my head around moving into a different house and moving to a different place. And I think it kind of held me back a little bit on making a move maybe earlier than what I did. I'm not saying that the place I was at wasn't great. I just tend to have this tendency to maybe move, maybe to do different things. But I think sometimes in the moment, I don't maybe actually embrace that as much as I could. And it wasn't until I kind of made that decision to move that I started kind of seeing some possibilities, some opportunities that might open up for me, and just some different things that would happen in my life. And now, when I'm thinking about where I live now, I really like it here. I really enjoying it. I enjoy the weather. I enjoy the travel more because it's less, which is, I travel quite a bit. It's a pretty central place to fly out of. A lot of flights going out of Orlando because so many people come to Disney. But I'll tell you that I'm just trying to really embrace and enjoy the time here and make the most of it while I'm here. But I also don't necessarily want to be held down to this idea that this is it. This is my last stop. I'll never move anywhere else. And I was kind of thinking about that, how I'll always kind of be open to things, but it's also, I think this is a really important aspect of this, is not to um, always be looking to the next thing. And I'm not doing that right now. I'm just open to something new. I'm always going to be open to something new. Whereas I felt like a little bit in the past, I was kind of closed to that idea. And so I think it's really kind of the idea of permanent for now means to make the best out of where you are in the present and what you're experiencing, and try to make those experiences the best you can. If you're always kind of grasping for the next thing, you won't actually ever appreciate the thing that you're in right now, and you won't make the best of it. I've referenced this before, and it's kind of a joke, but it's actually kind of accurate. Is there's a Justin Bieber song, and it says, "The grass isn't greener on the other side; it's greener where you water it." And I think permanent for now is that idea of watering the grass where you're at, but also sometimes you gotta change. And I was thinking about this too from a professional aspect, is kind of looking back at my career. Some of the places that I was getting really frustrated with, I kind of never saw myself leaving either. And I was, kind of do my best and kind of in that space and getting frustrated with this. And I think sometimes when your job, where you work, becomes part of your identity, that can be taken advantage of. And we get so wrapped up in where we're at. And I'll tell you, this is going to sound a little bit morbid, that the job often doesn't get wrapped up in you. And what I mean by that is it might be really challenging for you to go, but a lot of times you'll just be replaced. Someone else new will come into that space as well. So we kind of feel this allegiance to a place that maybe doesn't necessarily feel an allegiance to us. And I think that when you think about this on a professional side, we do our best to kind of serve the place, the people that we're in. And when it no longer serves you, you have to be open to that change. And one of the things I've always encouraged people when they're going into like a classroom or a school for at the beginning of the year is to look at everything with fresh eyes. And when I say that, I say like, hey, what do kids notice on the walls when they're actually walking to school? Do they actually see, themselves represented in those spaces? Do they see themselves connected? Do they connect with the stories that you're sharing? Do they see themselves in the curriculum? And kind of think about it, because a lot of times we're in places for a long time and we just become numb. We don't notice the stuff. But I also want you to think about this on a personal level. If you actually are in a place right now, and to look at it fresh eyes on a perspective of, if you were to start anew, if this was to be your first day at the job that you're currently at, and you know all the things you know, would you stay? Would you stay in that place? Would you actually stay there? And maybe you would. And if you would, that's awesome. But if you're saying, like, if you wouldn't actually, suggest it to other people, then that's where permanently for now comes into the play. That's where you got to start thinking about, okay, I'm going to give it my best while I'm here, but I need to be open to some of the opportunities, because when you close yourself to those new opportunities, people know that and they'll take advantage. And so I think it's, like I said, making the best of where you're at, but also being open to that change. And I think as I've got older, it's weird because I kind of picture myself as I got older, I'd be less open to change. But I think it's actually, I'm more open to it, because I've learned that we can put all of our heart, we can put everything into that moment with the intention of being there 10, 30 years, rest of our lives, right? I always make jokes like, oh, is this like, are you going to be buried in your classroom? Like, is this where you're going to die? And I've thought that about some of the jobs I've had before. And those are like 10 jobs ago, right? And you kind of think about that. So you got to be open to that change. You got to be open to that space. So it's not always looking to the next thing. And I think that's why I like that idea of permanent for now. And I know I've said it about 18 times. And I saw something yesterday is that, when you say something only 2 or 3 times, it doesn't resonate. I'm not doing that on purpose, but now it just kind of pops in my head. But it takes probably 10 times before people start connecting with it. But that idea of permanent for now is, be where you're at, appreciate the things that you have, give it your most in that moment, but always be open to that change, because when you're open to that change, change will find you, and it could lead to something way better. So just some thoughts. I don't know. I was just kind of blabbing Saturday night, and it's the end of August, but I wanted to record this. Just something I was thinking about. I hope somewhere in my babbling, somewhere along that line, that you maybe got a message out of this. Maybe you're struggling with something that you kind of are connected to, because like I said, we become so caught up, and the places where we're at become part of our identity, and we are so scared sometimes of losing that part of our identity. But there's a place is going to replace you anyway, right? I know maybe that sounds a little bit morbid, but I think it's just part of life, part of moving on, growing. Organizations will go on without people. They'll get new people in that place, but don't hold your ambitions, your life back because of those things. Just something I was thinking about. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I gotta hit the button of Mindset Monday. Thanks for all you do. Hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.